Good afternoon. This is Burke Franklin broadcasting to you on Thursday afternoons at 1 o'clock Pacific time from my office here in Santa Barbara, California. And I'm with businesspowertools.com. And I'm here to answer your questions. I've got FAQs. If you've got ideas and questions you want to ask me, click in the chat box on your online screen. You can also send me an email to Burke, B-U-R-K-E, at businesspowertools.com. And I'll probably get to those next week, so I can't see them this week. But if you're on live, you go to the chat box or the Q&A box, you can simply type in your question in there, your comment in there, we can talk about it. I'm here to answer your questions. This is really for people who are using our products, the Business Plan Builder, the Biz Plan Builder, Business Plan Software, our Employee Manual, our Agreement Builder, sample contract templates. We've got a marketing plan. We talk about business financing, managing, all kinds of stuff. I've been in this business, doing the software business, since 1988, right? This particular company for the last 27, 28 years. Before that, I've been working in electronics in Silicon Valley and all kinds of stuff. But I wanted to really, address questions. People have questions all the time. And I'm here to help you build your company. That's really what I want to help you do. I see a lot of really great ideas out there, and some of them make it and some of them don't. And a lot of it has to do with, I think, with getting it right, with your business plan right, getting with investors, pitching the right investors, having the right kind of investors invest in you, and whatever else I can help you do to help your innovation save our world, for lack of a better term. So you want to change the world, help the world. I'm here to make software tools to help you build a business around your desire to do that. So I like to think that you can build a company, you can make a profit, you can make a living doing something that you really want to do, that's your passion, that would be useful in the world, that we all need. And so I want to help you succeed in doing that. So whatever I can do to further your purpose that way, I'm all ears, I'm ready to go. And we've made a lot of software apps at businesspowertools.com to help you do that. So one thing I thought I would do today, which is a little different, oftentimes I'll address something out of the business plan or some questions, and we can do that. I don't see any questions yet today. So what I was going to do is I was going to show you my presentation that I'm working on for a TED Talk. I've given it a couple times before, and what I wanted to tell you about, it was just, I think it's worth knowing. And it's called, I'm going to share my screen. Let me just start there to share the screen with you, do this right. And that way you can see what I'm talking about. It's a whole PowerPoint here that I've got going that I can show you. So here goes, sharing screen. And I'm going to start the slideshow here. And so it's verbal awareness, what I call it. And really, what I've been listening to people speak for the last, well, all my life, but really in the last probably 30-something years, listening to what they say, listening to you literally, listening to the words people say, and the pictures that our words create. And I'll talk to you about this in a moment. So I call this how conscious language leads to business success, because I see that there's much language that creates stumbling blocks in your conversations with people. And it's especially important when you're selling a product, you're managing people, you're putting together a job description, you're especially pitching investors on your deal. We want to have this be a smooth conversation from start to getting money to help you succeed with this. And so let me start here. So what I want to, I'll just go through the slideshow. So you've heard probably before that your words are 7% of a communication. The tonality, how you say it, how you speak the words, there's speed and loudness and all that kind of stuff. There's 38% of it. Your body language, now you can see me here on camera talking to you, so body language can make a difference, how you use your hands, hand gestures. I know Toastmasters has a whole book on using hand gestures to be congruent with your message. You're not just waving your hands around unconsciously. Now, what I want to also say in a kind of a parallel fashion, think about if you had a vegetable garden, let's say. So in your vegetable garden, the seeds would be perhaps the 7%. How you plant the seeds, water them, nurture them, fertilize them, trim them, all that stuff would be the 38% of the success of your garden. And then, of course, 55% of the success of your vegetable garden would be the soil, the environment, how much sun is in there. Are you trying to plant this in the Arctic or in the desert, or where are you actually planting this? So that would be the environment really would be the 55% of your garden success. Now, the parallel I want to draw between your communication and your garden is simply like the words are 7% of the communication, your seed may be 7% of the garden. But the thing is, if you plant a corn seed, what are you going to get? You're going to get a corn field, a corn plant. If you plant an apple seed, you're going to get an apple tree. You're not going to get an apple tree if you plant corn. So the seeds are crucial, critical, absolutely. What kind of seed it is makes all the difference in the world. So what I'm pointing out here is that what I want to get to here is that your words create emotions, they create pictures in the listener's mind, and how, well, I wrote here, how people envision what you're talking about, the distractions maybe that you create with your words unconsciously. And I want to talk about consciously thinking through the words you use in the process of speaking to somebody or selling them your product, managing them, pitching your business for investment, putting into a legal contract. All these things, of course, we make software to address. But it's crucial that you, and we've been doing this. I've observed this a long time ago, and I've been observing it over the years. And what I wanted to share was really the effect I've noticed of these words and these usages of words, because we use an awful lot of double negatives in our culture, in our languages. So, so anyway, for example, let's start with this one. So, don't think of an elephant. Now, obviously, you're probably going to be thinking of an elephant. You might see the word elephant, but most likely you're seeing this guy. So now you've got an elephant, but wait, I told you don't think of an elephant. I specifically said not to think of this elephant. Nevertheless, of course you think of an elephant. That's what we do. And so in a conversation where I say don't, well, what's going to happen? So here's some examples. So, don't forget your car keys. Don't forget to pick up the kids. It's an elephant. Elephant. Don't forget the milk. Elephant. Don't worry. Don't be late. Don't miss out. We're throwing elephants in the middle of our conversations with someone where I really want you to remember your car keys, remember to pick up the kids, remember to get the milk, to be comfortable about what we're talking about, to be on time for this, and to be included. And so the thoughts about every word you use after the word don't, for example, don't should be your first indicator of the very next thing you're going to say is something you're putting an elephant between you and where you want to go. That's how I look at it. So, for example, here's Google. If you go on Google and type in "don't find me a puppy," what's Google do? Look what it's showing you. Here it is, images for "don't find me a puppy." There's a whole bunch of puppies. Of course it's going to give you puppies. And so the idea of saying don't and these double negatives is really is going to distract your listener and go in different directions and really where you want to go. And so, and for example, so in where you want to go is, well, you're going in one direction. That would be like one point on a compass. The compass, as you know, has 360 degrees on it. And so by talking in don'ts, even learning from your mistakes, which is a topic of one of my other talks that I give, is the mistakes, the 359 degrees of your compass are 359 degrees you really have no interest in going in. So there's no need to mention them. Let's just go in the one direction we're going. Likewise, with mistakes, there's probably an infinite number of ways you can make a mistake and to not make that mistake again, which is where we learn from our mistakes because, they're painful, they're expensive, they're embarrassing, all that stuff. So we're really motivated. There's an emotional charge there that really motivates us to learn from our mistakes and not make that mistake again. But I assert that there's an infinite number of mistakes you can make. So not making a mistake again doesn't guarantee that you're going to do it right the next time. You're simply not going to you're going to make a different mistake. And so what I'm looking at doing here is how do we focus on where we want to go and go in that direction and figure out what works. Like if you analyze your successes and look at your successes and think, okay, because usually we'll be successful at something and just go, whoa, go, let's go, let's do that again. But did you really analyze that success? Did you really look at it and say, what did we add? What did we take away? Who was there? Who wasn't there? What did we do differently? A lot of different things like that can go into analyzing your success. So then you're looking at how do you repeat that success? Okay, all that said, now sometimes, a negative can make a good point. And in entrepreneurship, we've heard over and over and over again, perseverance, never give up. Yet I love this cartoon of the frog squeezing the bird's throat so he can't eat him. So, but nevertheless, it says never give up. It says give up. You got to give up or a good half of this message. So we're still introducing the idea of give up, even though I said never. And so here's maybe a better example. Winston Churchill, which we arguably say has probably been through hell, says if you're going through hell, keep going. So the message here is keep going. So it's the flip side of the same coin. And where we use the don't, we're putting in words like give up, and the give up becomes the idea that occupies our mind, just like the elephant does. Here we go, keep going. And so that's really the message you want to have in front of you. So let's go on to another idea. And so, if you're a person you're managing people perhaps, or you've got kids, and you want to know, you've maybe paid somebody to do something for you, and you want to know where the project is, we often ask things like, hey, why didn't you? And so I can imagine that if I personally, I don't like excuses. Now, there you go, like excuses. So, and it's a practice to keep this up, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But why ask the question, why didn't you? What is why didn't you ask for? Literally, it's asking for a list of excuses, a list of reasons. Like, hey, why didn't you get that done? Well, I didn't have the money. I couldn't do this. They didn't show up. And they'll go on with an infinite list of reasons and excuses, a whole bunch of stuff that is not taking you where you want to go. Better to ask, how are you going to? Or when's it going to be done? Or something like this. I'm talking about speaking, I call it speaking forward, where we're speaking forward into the action we want versus throwing down an elephant. Here's another example. How often have you said this to somebody, hey, why don't you do this? Well, what kind of answer are you going to get? Well, because blah, 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 blah. Again, asking for a list of excuses, the very thing you don't want to hear. And don't want to hear. So a better question might be, what if you? So what if you did this? Now the question you're really asking is for the other person to be creative and say, well, let me think. This could happen, that would happen, and maybe some bad things would happen, but nevertheless, you're asking them what if they did it to get them to consider the possibilities of an idea you have for them. All right, so here's another one. I was listening to a consultant speak one day, and he was talking about, see, this is what you got to do to make progress against your goals. Now, I know it's like you're working against your to-do list and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, really better to say, oops, I went forward. I went to go backwards. So anyway, I'll go on. But that whole point, about going towards your goals and against really is resistance. Now, what do we know about resistance? Resistance is futile. Resistance is, it's the thing. It's what people tell you. You get what you resist, and so why build resistance into anything we're doing or talking about? And that's a key ingredient. Now let's move on to this word K-N-O-W. Now we know what it means, and so, but it also sounds like N-O, no, or I say this a lot. This is what I keep saying that. That's one of my habits I'm breaking, is getting rid of saying And I just hear the word N-O in this. Now, if you're making a sales pitch or sales presentation, what you want to have is a constant stream of yeses. You learn this in some basic sales trainings where you're asking a question. Hey, it's a nice day, isn't it? Yes. You like the color of that car, don't you? Yes. And so you're getting yeses and yeses and yeses. So at the moment of truth comes to when you're saying, are you ready to buy it? They go, yes. And that's how that works. But what I'm hearing throughout this whole conversation is no, N-O. And we're dropping the no in. And this is, again, another herd of elephants that are being dropped into our conversations. And it's no mystery that we have to overcome objections. And guess who created the objections? We did. We have all these elephants in the ways of objections that now, as a salesperson, you must overcome with your client. And who did it to you? You did it to yourself. And so probably a better way to say, yes, I get it. and all positive. Do you follow what I'm saying? Does this make sense to you? Okay, is this making sense? Now you can start to hear, you'll hear it in your own thinking. This is really important because it's not only in the words you use with others or what you write in your business plan. And we've gone to a lot of, we've made a conscious effort and practice to include this line of thinking in the Biz Plan Builder, business plan software, the employee policy manual software we have, our contracts, stock option agreements, everything we have at businesspowertools.com has this thinking built into it, yet everything's a template enabling you to customize it any way you want. I want to be sure that you understand this fundamental bit of thinking that's built in, baked into all of our products, so you continue it and keep the elephants out of the conversation. Okay, so when you're pitching your investors, if you say something like, don't worry, like, wait, we got worry in front of us, another elephant. And so keeping the elephants out of the presentation, keeping the elephants out of having your kids clean their room, having your spouse do something you'd like them to do or something you're talking about. Keep it smooth and moving forward. It's all about moving forward in the direction you want your conversation to go. Now, this takes some doing. It takes practice. And my guitar teacher would say, he wouldn't say, okay, go home and practice. He'd say, okay, here's this lick, go home and play it 1,000,000 times. And, so to me, it's like, go home and play your guitar versus practice your guitar sounds a heck of a lot different. This is just another variation on the conscious choice of words that you're planting as a seed in the conversation to move it forward. And I think of practice these days as the idea is, I'm going to get good at this. I'm not sure what it's going to take. I'm going to get good at this, and whatever it takes, and that's what I'm going to do. And so another, just the thoughts on using the word practice. Some other unconscious things we hear or say that come along in life. For example, my grandmother used to tell me, save the best until last. Now, this was in the context, or when she said it to me, was in the context of having dinner. And she was saying, okay, save that piece of meat for last because it's the best. Eat your vegetables, eat your potato, then the piece of meat. Well, here I was, 20-something years later when I was working for Texas Instruments selling electronic components. And I'd have a list of clients. And I had them, ranked like, this is the best one. And then I'm saving that one for last, though. I'm going to go for after all these other clients first. And then after that, I'm going to go for the best one that I'm saving till last. It took a workshop where we were reviewing all these things that people had said to us, just the stuff our parents said to us, money doesn't grow on trees, things like that. And some of these other statements, like you see this in emails, don't wait, or don't miss out. And, and it was like, you're going to kill it. But there's a difference, I think, between making a living and making a killing. And so it's these words that you're putting in here that are, may affect people differently, and you don't really know how it's going to affect them. And so anyway, so things like it kills me when, or break a leg, and that kind of thing, or knock them dead, that kind of stuff. And one of my favorites is, you're not going to find this anywhere else, which suggests to me that, really, I can find this somewhere else. It's just what we do. Just like don't think of an elephant, we think of an elephant. So when you say something like you're not going to find this anywhere else, it gets people to thinking that maybe they should look somewhere else. Probably not forwarding the conversation and presentation in the direction you want it to go. Here's my favorite: go for broke. Now, I can imagine investing everything you have in something, and I know lots of entrepreneurs have done that. I've done that, and betting the farm and going for it. But I don't think we're thinking about doing it and going for broke. So when you hear the term "go for broke," think twice. And I created a new mantra out of this. I decided to say, with my luck, I'll make a fortune on this. Whatever it is, my luck, I'll make a fortune on this. And I just like that a heck of a lot better. So some things I'll leave you with here, some ideas here, like going forward with some determination, because I want this to be a positive experience where you can think about how you can go forward in the world and do these different things. And so one of them is, because there are a lot of things that do need fixing in our world, and so it's great. We can fix them, yay. There's talking about tolerating. There's tolerance. I don't think, well, let me put it this way. There's a better word than tolerance, and I think it's acceptance. Where, because tolerance is like, okay, I'll put up with you. I don't like you. I don't like what you have to say. I don't like what you're about, but I'll tolerate it. Versus, I'm going to accept it. I like what you have to say. It's different than what I know, but I'm going to, you're going to use the word no. It's pervasive, as you can imagine. You'll hear this everywhere. After today, I think you're going to hear people saying, you're going to hear it in your own head. But when you do hear it in your own head, or you do hear yourself speaking it to somebody, remember to look for the flip side of that and how you can say that in a positive, forward-moving language. Use those words that forward the language and where you want to go. So I think of like learning and absorbing all cultures and perspectives. There's something to learn there. Another one is, hey, if we had peace, and you're hearing this in a few places lately, where, if we have peace and we're not, I don't think we're going to have a war with China because we're their biggest customer. Who bombs their customers? So if we have more peace in the world, we'll all have more customers. I'm speaking to you. You're probably a business person. So more peace, more customers. That's what we really want. And a couple more things. I think these crossed my mind, but the whole software, all the apps we've built at Business Power Tools, which you may have formerly have known as Gion Software, Gian. I was Gion for a long time until I sold the web address and rebranded to Business Power Tools. But everything I've been building here has been really exciting to make them, because it started out with people showing me their business plans, and they had some really, really, really great ideas. It's just that the plan they had was not doing the job it needed to do to sell the investor on why to write them a check and fund their company. And so I help people write these business plans. And this is where this is just one aspect of my thinking that I built into all of our products, especially the business plan and everything with that. And so I build things that I'm excited to sell. So it makes it exciting for me to want to sell them because of what I put into it that's different than everyone else. That it's what we do that's unique, and I think better, that will work for you. Anyway, and another one I like is I'm looking forward to it, because you can have complaints with but to say I'm looking forward to it, whatever it is. In my case, I would say to the future of your business, where we make these business power tools. I think of them also as building blocks, if you will, for building your company, so you can organize it, fund it, manage it, scale it, sell it ultimately. And we've built these things into our business plan, our marketing plan product, the policies and procedures, the job descriptions. We've got vision in the job description, the priorities in the job description. These are important things, so people who are working for you, whether they're an employee or an independent contractor, know exactly what you expect from them, and then they know what to deliver. And then if there's something that needs to be done, you can ask them, how will this get done? When is it going to be done by? That kind of thing. Even in the agreements, they're positive agreements in plain English, so you can understand, everybody understands what they say, and the deal is clear. I think that's really, really important. So that's what I will leave you with. It's businesspowertools.com. That's my presentation on conscious language to build your business. Hope you enjoy that. I'm going to come back to my screen here. And let's see, turn this off. There we go. That goes away. So anyway, do you have any questions or any ideas or something you want to say about that I can address or talk about? Other than that, it's been a half hour. I'm going to turn that into a TED Talk. So if you have any ideas about how I could do that better, any other comments or things on there, I'd love to hear it and make it as good as possible. I really want to, I think that message, I hear it so much everywhere. And if all of us, let's say all of us started speaking forward with some verbal awareness and you consciously choosing our words to paint the pictures and create the emotions in whoever's listening to us in the forward direction we want to go, think about all of the benefits in the world that would happen from that and how it could help everybody and contribute to business success everywhere and just world peace and as many things as I can imagine. And maybe I'm overdoing it, but hey, you can start there. And certainly in your own head, in your own mind, when you think about the words you use and what you say. And at the end, is it a herd of elephants you have to get past, or are there no elephant? Can the elephants take you forward? Because you can use those words consciously, and the elephants are pulling you through your story, through your presentation, through your sales pitch, all that stuff. So unless there's a question, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. If you've got something here, we're good. So thank you. Great job. I love that. Appreciate good hearing that. Yay. Hey, thank you too. All right, great. That's good. Okay, yeah, so go forward. I have one friend, he has a business. I'll call him out on it. He sells these precision syringes, and they're awesome. And he said to me in a text, yeah, they deliver the medicine with deadly accuracy. I thought, you want to rethink the word deadly when you're talking about a syringe. Sorry, man. But that's the kind of thing I call him out on. I think he just said that in an email to me. But it's there again, it's one of those thoughts. It's an elephant created there. It's an unnecessary elephant in that conversation. So I know he's not using that word, but I just thought that was particularly amusing. And so that was good. Oh, another question. Yes, I gave this presentation at the California Women's Conference in Long Beach, and it went over really well. It was the first time I'd actually presented it in public. I've gone through it a number of times, and I was a little nervous on stage with it. I created the PowerPoint, and of course, or the keynote, when you're working on your presentation, part of it is, you go from slide to slide. You want to know, like, okay, what's on the next slide, and having to know that. And sometimes using the monitor in front of the room, it's not that easy to do. But I think it's getting better, and I'm going to dial this into a TED Talk that I want to present. Whether it actually becomes a TED Talk or not, at least it's here, and so you can see it. And in the meantime, you can find out more of my blogs and at businesspowertools.com. There's a link in the upper menu there with blogs, other videos. I've got videos that talk about all the aspects of a business plan. So if you're working on a business plan, whether you've got Biz Plan Builder or not, you can click on those videos. And it's anywhere from a minute to maybe 5 minutes talking about each section of your business plan. And really where I'm coming from with that, it's kind of like a movie director saying, okay, look, here's the part you're playing, and these guys are the villains, and these guys are doing this, and you're doing this, and here's how this scene works. And in the case of the business plan, I'm telling you, okay, here's what the investors are looking for. Here's what lenders are looking for. Here's what anybody's looking for in this particular section of the business plan. So even though the template's in front of you where we've written, at least 80% of the business plan bits for all the parts for you, and you can drag and drop and move them in different order. You can work in any section you want, anytime you want. You don't have to include all the sections even when you give the presentation. The idea is what each section contributes to the business plan and why an investor or lender or anybody for that matter would be interested in understanding that section, understand that part of your business. Because I think like in your business plan, people want to know what you know. And if they're going to invest money with you, they want to know that you've thought through everything as much as you possibly can. You've considered the risks. You've considered the people. You understand your customer. We want to know what you know. And that's very important to think about. And it does give you some things to think about and make sure that you've covered, I'll say, all the bases, all the aspects of your business. And then you've taken some notes and put it in some detail so when the investor reads this. Because, sure, the investor may not want to read your business plan right off the bat. And that's why we have the executive summary, because it's the kind of the intro to the business plan. And so, or the mini business plan. But once they see that and they're interested, and they see some detail and some ideas of how are you going to pull this off, then they'll read the whole business plan. I assure you that before they write you a check for $50,000 to $50 million or $500 million, whatever it is, they'll read 30 to 50 pages to understand what you understand about the detail. And then they'll ask you all kinds of questions. So anyway, all that said, that's BizPlanBuilder at businesspowertools.com. So I am going to end this for you now. It's 30 minutes. I'm happy to stay here if there's questions and people ask questions and want to know things. Oftentimes people come and watch and listen and learn. I'm happy to have you watch and learn. I'll always have something to teach or something to talk about like this, because I just got, thinking about what is it part of the secret sauce of Biz Plan Builder and all of Business Power Tools products that I just built in without really explaining to people what's there, what's behind it. And I wanted to make this point so you continued what we started and kept the elephants out of your plans, out of your policies, out of your job descriptions and contracts and all that kind of stuff. So that said, thank you very much for coming. And I'll see you next Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific time. And if you have a question for me, send it to Burke, B-U-R-K-E, at businesspowertools.com. And you can also come to our page and click on a link that will send you an email to remind you to come, that this talk is happening. And you'll also get an email with a link to the recording of it too, if you want to watch it afterwards, if you can't make the live event. All right, talk to you next week.